welcome back to Buzz with MXN. Today's topic that we are going to discuss is networking commands, and we're going to discuss some 8 most useful commands in networking that are used by in day-to-day life by the network engineers as well as the common person who wants to check his or her internet connectivity. So what is in this video? The things that we are going to discuss are about the networking command, what exactly are the networking commands, why they are useful, and the important networking commands that we are showing some demos in the CMD, how to use it, and what are the useful impacts of those. So what are the networking commands? Like we're using every system. Everybody is working on laptops or desktops in a modern network, modern day-to-day life. So these systems basically run into some problem or one day or the other, and we need to fix those issues. So these commands are basically used for the same purposes to resolve the networking issues that we may encounter in day-to-day life. And these commands are specifically designed to troubleshoot network problems with minimum complexity using the Windows CMD tool or command prompt tool. We basically use these commands in the CMD portal to troubleshoot the networking issues. Every system is connected, every system is connected to numerous different networks and systems through the internal or external networking channels. What is internet basically? It's basically a link between multiple many number of clients communicating together over the fiber channel or ether channel over the internet. So this comprises of a network. These networking settings often run sometimes have some issues that stop the working of these systems. Such networking problem can be resolved using the networking commands. So let's get started with the networking commands. The first networking command that we will talk about is ipconfig. So you may be aware about the configuration of your system, like you want to know about what are the hardware components that your system is using, what is the subnet mask, what is the gateway that is configured in your system. All those things basically comprise of the configuration of your system. So ipconfig basically is a network command that provides a comprehensive view of the information regarding the IP address configuration of the device we are currently working. For example, I'm using this laptop currently. What are the IP addresses that it is using? It may be using some specific IP addresses, IPv4 addresses, IPv6 addresses. It may be having some DNS, using some DNS server connected to some DNS server. It may be getting its IP from some DHCP server. All these configurations are basically listed under the ipconfig command. So the ipconfig command also provides us with some variation in the primary command that targets specific system settings or data which are. So there are some variations in this command. We can either type the ipconfig itself, or there are 3 other variations that are ipconfig/all, ipconfig/renew, ipconfig/release. So what these are, what are the functions of these? So ipconfig/all provides the primary output with additional information about the network adapters. With ipconfig, we get the information about the IP addresses, subnet mask, DNS, and DHCP, and there are some additional information about the network adapters that we use that is shown by the command with ipconfig/all. ipconfig/renew is used to renew the system's IP address. For example, you're using 192.168.1.1 IP address, and you want to basically renew the IP address or ask the DHCP server once again to assign the address to you. So you will type in the configuration ipconfig/renew. The IP address would be renewed to the system. And if you want to release the IP address, we can make the use of the command ipconfig/release. It removes the system's current IP address that you're currently working on. And the command prompt, we enter the command simply ipconfig, or we can use any of the variations like any ipconfig/all that shows us the primary information also along with the network adapters. The ipconfig renew is used to renew the IP address, and config release release the current IP address that is currently used. So this is the prompt that we can see. If you go ahead and simply type ipconfig, it will show you the media status and the Ethernet adapters that are currently used, the IP addresses that you're using, IPv4, IPv6 details, and the MAC addresses as well. So this is a prompt that is showing up for the ipconfig command. Moving ahead, Talking about the NS lookup. NS lookup command is used to troubleshoot network connectivity issues in the system. Using the NS lookup command, we can access the information related to the system's DNS server, that is the domain name server, and IP addresses. I guess this is more clear, but to just clarify, it is a command line tool basically that we use. This NS lookup is a command line tool that we use in the CMD to retrieve our domain information. For example, we are connected to a particular DNS server. We want to retrieve the information from the DNS server for the domain that we are connected to. So we make use of NS lookup command. What it helps us, it includes the IP addresses and the DNS record. Using various NS lookup command, you can get different information about your domain. There are some variations in this command nslookup as well. Like it was previously with the ipconfig, we can also have some variations in nslookup command which can help us get different information about the domain. So this can help troubleshoot DNS related issues. This is basically a command that is usually used to configure to troubleshoot the DNS related issues or queries. So in command prompt, you can just type in the nslookup and you will get the following details. We will have a prompt. When we type in the nslookup, it shows you the default server that you're connected to. And for example, we're typing in the www.amazon.com. It shows us that this information is we are getting this information from a non-authoritative server. That is the cache from the cache memory of some DNS resolver. The name is present there, the address, IP address is present, and the alias name for Amazon.com is also present there. So this was the prompt from nslookup. And the third most important tool that we can configure or use is the host name. It's very simple. The host name command displays the host name of the system. For example, you have a laptop or you have a desktop. The system is using a particular name that you can configure yourself, or it comes by default. So we can use the host name command to see or to display the host name of the system. The host name command is much easier and to use than going into a system settings to search for it. So for example, you don't know how to basically search for the system name via GUI. If you don't know that, you can just go ahead and open the CMD command prompt and type in the prompt, type in host name. So with this command, it will be easier for you to get the host name itself. So if we just show a prompt of the CMD command, just go in and type host name, and it will show you the name of the system that you're currently working on. Moving ahead, the most important of the commands that everybody basically uses is the ping command. The ping command is one of the most widely used commands in the prompt tool, as it allows the users to check the connectivity of your system to another host. For example, you want to connect to www.google.com. You want to see if your system is able to connect to the Google server over the internet. So you will make use of the ping command followed by the address that you want to visit. In this case, we are visiting google.com. The command sends 4 experimental packets to the destination host to check whether it receives them successfully. If so, then we can communicate with the destination host. But in case the packets have not been received, that means no communication can be established with the destination host. So you can just type in the ping command followed by the host name that you want to connect with. And if it basically sends 4 packets out, for the Windows, it's 4 packets. For other operating system, it might be different. So in Windows, by default, it sends out 4 packets, 4 experimental packets to check whether or not it is able to receive it is able to locate the destination host, and then the destination host basically receives the packets and it is basically successfully sent. So if they can communicate, then the connection is okay. If not, then there may be some problem. You can just check out your Ethernet cable that may be connected, that may be faulty, or the NIC card may be faulty. And these are some troubleshooting steps that you can do just to check whether or not there's a problem on your side or the issue is with the internet itself. So the command that you can enter is ping followed by the host name, in this case, google.com. So this is a prompt from CMD. Here we are pinging google.com. So you can see that ping is going and we are able to receive the reply from google.com having the IP address for 142.250.194.4. So there are packets, number of packets sent are 4, received packet also are 4. So there is a 0% loss. Round trip time, how many milliseconds, it's also shown in the CMD. Moving ahead, let's talk about the trace route. This is also one of the most important commands that network engineers use. This basically helps us track the route that the particular packet is using over the internet, how many hops through which network, through which routers the traffic is being transmitted. The trace route command is used to trace the route during the transmission of the data packets over the destination host, and also provides us with the hop count during the transmission. So as stated, it helps us to trace the route during the transmission of a data packet to the destination host, to whatever destination we are going to. For example, we are trying to check the trace route to Amazon, to Facebook, or any other host name. We just wanted to check whether or not how what are the paths that are being used or that are being used to connect to that host to that host basically, and also provides us with the hop counts as well, how many routers it's using to from this client machine to the host machine. Using the number of hops and the hop IP address, we can troubleshoot network issues and identify the point of problem during the transmission of the data packets. So as it is very simple and very clear, so this basically uses the number of hops and sees whether or not there's some problem in any particular hop. It helps us to identify any network problems over the internet. So basically, it is a tool to trace the path that a packet basically takes, information packet takes from the source to the destination. That is what the trace route shows. It works by sending a series of, it basically sends a series of ICMP echo requests to the target, each with an incrementally increasing time to live. And traceroute is very useful for troubleshooting large networks where several paths lead to the same point, or where many intermediate components, example routers and bridges, are involved. So this is something about the traceroute, and we can have a glimpse of the prompt from the CMD command as well. Just type in trace route, whatever destination you want to trace the route to from the local machine. You can just check that, and these are the particular hops, and it's showing you what path this is taking and what are the times in milliseconds that it is going from one hop to the other. So it will basically show you which hop is faulty or where the fault lies in the overall network, and it will be very helpful for the networking engineer to troubleshoot the issue over the internet. The next command would be netstat. Or netstat command, as the name suggests, displays an overview of all the networking connections in the device. The table shows the details about the connection protocols, addresses, and the current state of the network. So it displays the active TCP connections, ports on which the computer is listening, basically, the Ethernet statistics, the IP routing table, etc. It's used without parameters. If it is basically used without the parameters to display the command active TCP connections. So it basically shows the network and protocol statuses in general. Through this networking netstat command, we can basically show the network and protocol status. So if we see in the CMD prompt, we will be able to see the protocol type, that is a TCP, local IP addresses and foreign IP addresses, and the state, whether it's established or not. It is also shown in the CMD prompt. ARP, you must be very much aware, it's an address resolution protocol that basically maps the IP to the MAC addresses. The ARP command is used to access the mapping structure. Basically, it shows which IP is assigned to which MAC address. This provides us a better understanding of the transmission of packets in the networking channel. So how the packets are transmitted over the networking channel, it helps us to understand that. For the command prompt, we can make use of ARP, and there are various types we can use. We can use /a/g/v, and there are various other basically what most commonly we use ARP/A that displays the ARP entries in the table. Lastly, we will make use of system info. It basically shows us the information of the system, whatever information we are having, the hardware components that of the system. We make use of system info. Using the system info command, we can access the system hardware and software details such as processor details, booting time, Windows version, etc. So the prompt that we use for the system info is /system info, and we basically get the name of OS name, the OS version, manufacturer of the laptop, the OS configuration, OS build, every other detail that we need will be provided by system info. So I guess that was it. So conclusion, the networking commands. In this video that we have seen about the networking commands, we understood the need of using the networking commands and the way to implement them in the Windows command prompt. We also learned about the different networking commands to troubleshoot and configure the system's network settings. So thank you very much for watching. I hope you liked this session. And if you have any queries,